Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you for being us here today on our today's webinar with the title of Discovering the Opportunities Within the Kingdom for the Industrial Equipment Sector. We have a beautiful lineup here with us today. We have Muhannad Al-Brady and Mohammed Al-Mania from Local Content and the Governmental Procurement Authority, or as known as LCGPA. As well, we have Hala Al-Musbah from King Salman Energy Park, or Spark. Let me introduce myself as well. My name is Hussam Hajjar. I'm the Business Development Manager from the Industrial Equipment sector on the Investment Attraction Department. So we'll go through my agenda on starting and talking about MISA and the industrial equipment investment opportunities within the kingdom, moving to my colleagues in the LCGPA and ending with Spark, inshallah. So before starting actually our webinar, I would like first to talk about the Saudi Arabia and the industrial equipment sector in Saudi, and how Saudi Arabia is one of the world's largest markets for the industrial equipment sector, and it's currently valued of more than 56 billion Saudi riyals. The local demand for the industrial equipment is set to be and experience a massive growth, with the KSA anticipating to spend approximately more than 1 trillion Saudi riyals for the industrial equipment between now to 2030. To kick off actually the first part of our webinar, we'll start on talking on the Saudi 2030 vision and how is it actually the very heart of Saudi Arabia's ambitious and social and cultural and economic and transformation that's leading the transformation that's happening within the kingdom, which actually leading that Saudi Arabia is welcoming foreign investors by opening new brands of new greenfields sectors for investments. Some of the major players around the world have already started their manufacturing facilities within Saudi. Just to give some examples, we have Schlumberger, who started their completion manufacturing facility in Spark, and Halliburton, who started their oil and gas chemical plant as well in Jubail, plus GE, who is starting their gas turbine facility as well. So we'll go to the question, why are businesses choosing Saudi Arabia? To summarize it in one sentence, it is Saudi is a leading G20 economy that's still growing. It actually has the first population growth rate over the next 5 years among the G20 countries, and almost 26% share of incentives to GDPs, which makes it actually the 6th among the G20 countries. Going to the unique demographics, Saudi is sizable. It consists of almost 60% of the GCC population and 14% of the Middle East population as well. It's a young country. Almost 60% of the population is less than 30 years old and affluent as well, with the GDP of more than $23,000 per capita in 2018. Talking a little bit also about the location, Saudi is only 4 hours away from more than the 50 fast-growing markets, and only 6 hours away from over 50% of the world's GDPs. And on top of all, it's only 7 hours away from half of the world's population as well. It's not only the connectivity that makes Saudi a little bit special to the outer world, as much as the connectivity from the inside as well, starting from the number of airports, the thousands of black roads, and also the huge amount of railroads that's being constructed. Saudi also has invested a lot in the mega and giga projects, represent some of the most ambitious development under construction around the world today. To give some examples, we got NEOM at the northern region, the Red Sea project on the western region, Al Qiddiya project at the south of the capital, Riyadh, and also King Salman Energy City, or Spark, that's located in the eastern region, which my colleague Ms. Hala will elaborate more, inshallah, after my part. So what MISA can do for you? So MISA is not only promoting these opportunities, investments opportunities, as much as working in aligned with other stakeholders and entities within the kingdom on the market research and identifying the best and suitable investment opportunities before actually promoting it. So we will work with you before setting up your project on the market and economic intelligence, matchmaking and linkage to all the entities within the kingdom, organizing site visits, and helping on land search and all other aspects as well. And even during setup, MISA will support you on obtaining all the license and permits needed, and coordinating all the communications between you and the other stakeholders, and supporting you to reach to the needed suppliers, I would say. And after even finalizing your project, MISA will still assign an account manager who will look after your project and support you with any obstacle that you might face. I'd like to give an example here. So after setting up a facility and you have faced an issue with custom, I would say. So the MISA account manager will still support you in resolving all of these obstacles as well. It's not that it's actually the simple that it's actually simple as it can get, and MISA have actually also invested on making this journey inexpensive. Starting from obtaining the MISA license for foreign investors, going all the way to setting up the project. MISA also have expanded its international portfolio with starting 9 international offices all around the world, with an ability to expand this portfolio in the future. I would like to invite you all to visit the Invest Saudi website for more information and more figure and facts as well. And you can always contact us through Invest Saudi for any opportunity that you might want to know about it more. Going a little bit deep on our topic for the industrial equipment. Today, inshallah, I'm going to talk a little briefly about 2 of the opportunities that we are offering, starting from the oil and gas equipment. As you all know, Saudi is the largest Middle East market for oil and gas equipment, with more than $40 billion in annual spend. Then I'm going to move and talk a little bit about HVAC opportunities, with more than which actually has more than 2 million units that's being sold annually within the region, with a worth of $2 billion imported annually. Saudi is not only rich with investments opportunities, as much as it's also rich with raw materials availability, starting from aluminum, iron alloys, polymers, plastics, rubbers, steel, and etc., which still MISA will support you in reaching out to all of these suppliers to set up your project. Going a little bit deeper and talking about the oil and gas investments opportunities, and let me first start by talking a little bit about the Saudi oil and gas sector. As you know, Saudi is one of the largest in the world, with the second biggest oil reserves. Saudi has the biggest onshore oil reservoir, Buwar, which is located in the eastern region, and as well Safaniya, which is the largest offshore oil reservoir as well, located in the Arabian Gulf. Not forget to mention the major projects that's being done to develop the other major oil fields, such as Khurais, Menifa, and Shayba as well. Let me show you some of these investments opportunities for the oil and gas and HVAC as well. And to be honest, it's quite a lot to talk about all of them due to the time. But I just wanted to give actually some examples of these opportunities and show you a little bit of market data on it to reflect, and actually it reflects on all of them. And again, I encourage everyone actually to reach out to us for more information for any investment opportunity that we're offering to support you with all the market data available. Let me move and show you some investments opportunities that we have for completion products, such as liner hangers, packers, DV tools, and tubing strings. The Saudi forecasted demand for these four products within the next year, it exceeds more than 500 million euros. And Saudi actually is actually staking more than 50% of the GCC market as well. So I believe you can actually see the reflections of these four products to the other investments opportunities that we're offering. I'm going to move a little bit and talk about the HVAC investments opportunities and a little bit about the market. In the GCC region, there were more than 2 million AC units that was exported in 2018. GCC actually has the growth rate of more than 4.3% per year from 2013 to 2018. And this actually annual growth is expected to increase due to the major constructions and projects that's happening within the region by itself, not only the country. To show some more marketing, neighboring countries such as Oman and Kuwait, and both of these countries, they have a growth rate of more than 10% per year, give and take. So talking about the demand that I just mentioned before in 2018, Saudi has 80% out of that demand with approximately of 1.6 billion units, which is expected actually to grow to reach to 2.3 billion units only for Saudi per average. It's not that the number is increasing, but the market in Saudi Arabia actually is changing to more efficient standard and moving away from the conventional ACs, I would say, which actually will affect a lot on the price. So let me talk a little bit more about the incentives offering that's being offered in Saudi Arabia. And I would like to mention that Saudi Arabia is a very incentives-oriented country. Actually, the country speaks that language even before the pandemic as well. And the portfolio of these incentives offerings is getting updated and increasing by time as well. So at this day, we have almost 70 entities that offers different incentives with a total of around 240 incentives from financial to non-financial, which is quite a huge number, I would say. And I would like to mention some of these incentives. First, some of the things that's being offered on the export credit financing that's being managed by the Saudi Exim Bank and SIDF, ITFC, Saudi Exports, the energy and utility enablement. And I would like to say here that Saudi Arabia is offers a very attractive conditions when it comes to power and water and natural gas and etc. And to give some examples, to be honest, the power is sold in Saudi Arabia for the industrial sectors with a worth of $0.049 per watt. Diesel is sold with $15.26 per barrel, and gas with $1.27 per million BTU. Even land is being offered starting from $0.27 per square meters. So I would say these incentives for the energy part is quite very attractive if you compare it to other countries around the world. And let me also show you some other stuff. For the R&D, it's not only the country is focusing on manufacturing industry as much as focusing on the research and development as well. Different entities is offering different incentives to improve the R&D projects, such as King Abdulaziz City for Science and Technology. And we also have the SIDF, which is the Saudi Industrial Development Fund as well. For the loan programs, and this is quite very interesting, to be honest, it's being led by the Saudi Industrial Development Fund, or SIDF, which actually they finance up to 50% of the project cost in major cities, and it can reach up to 75% in promising cities and other strategic sectors as well. It has a prepayment period of up to 20 years. And they also offer some advisory service and administration and marketing technical incentives programs as well, not to mention the IR 4.0. They have also some special programs for SMEs. And same as Kafala here, we have the other program, Kafala, that focus more on the SMEs and covering risk bank financing for these SMEs with a percentage of up to 75% of the loan. Custom duty exemptions, that's being handled by the Ministry of Industry, which means that any manufacturers can import any spare parts from out of the kingdom, as long as it's not manufactured, it's not available here in Saudi. It will have a custom duty exemptions on it. And this is actually, it doesn't have any time limit. It can be implemented at any time, as long as it's not available within the kingdom. For the tax credits and exemptions, which is offered by the General Authority of Zakat and Tax, that offers tax credits and exemptions for the RMT projects investments. And for the employment funding, we have two programs. I'd like to talk a little bit about both of them. The first one is Tamhir, which focus on the on-job training for Saudis, and financing and supporting them with almost 3,000 riyals per month with a duration of up to 6 months. The other one, which is called Hadaf, that's offered by HRDF, the Human Resources Development Fund, that actually focuses more on the Saudization and the support they offer on the salaries for Saudizations. For example, for the male citizens, they offer up to 30% of their salaries, and for females, up to 40% to support the female hiring. These programs' durations goes all the way up to 2 years. Going to property solutions, there are different examples here, starting from the Saudi Authority for Industrial Cities, or known as Mudun. Mudun actually has almost 35 industrial cities that is scattered all around the kingdom. Another example is the Royal Commission for Jubail and Yanbu, which is actually a world-class industrial cities located in Jubail, Ras Al Khair, Yanbu, and Jazan. Another option is King Abdulaziz Economy City, that is on the western region of Saudi Arabia. And a very good example out of those is Spark as well, which my colleague Halo will talk about a little bit more, inshallah, at the end of this presentation. For the government procurement laws and the focus of the government procurement on supporting the localization as well, I'd like to leave this part to my colleagues, Mr. Muhammad and Mr. Muhannad on the LCGPA, to talk a little bit more in detail on it. That's it for my part, guys. I encourage you all to contact us for any information and visit the Invest Saudi website for more data. And I would like to move to my colleagues, Mr. Muhammad, Mr. Muhannad and the LCGPA. The floor is yours, guys.
Thank you, Hussam. Can you please kindly share the PPT that we had shared prior, please?
All right.
There you go. So my name is Muhammad Al-Mania. My colleague Muhammad Al-Braidi is going to join me in a short while. So what we're going to talk about, we are going to talk about the Local Content and Government Procurement Authority, which is an authority that has been established for about a little over a year and a half right now. And we're going to talk about, if you go to the next slide, please. We are going to talk about the local content strategy into increasing local content. And then we're going to talk about our concepts when it comes to local content as well. Can we go to the next one, Hussam, please? The next one as well. So now we're going to talk about our strategies into increasing the local content requirements within the government procurement. If we look into the pyramid in front of us, we would say that the top of the pyramid is considered as the economy itself. When we looked at the economy, we first started looking into what is the local content meaning. What does local content mean? So we had to identify a definition for local content as peer starter. And then second, we looked into the current stage of local content, which we eventually had identified and then had come up with the targets for the next few years in the future. And then the second part, we started looking into who is the most effective when it comes to local content requirements within this entire pyramid. So we figured that the government entities are the most ones that actually affect the economy. So we started working with our colleagues in government entities and also the realization programs to embed local content requirements within their policies and as well as their regulation. And then we started working with our colleagues at the Ministry of Finance to embed the local content requirements within the government procurement law. And then once we've done this, we started working with our colleagues into the private sector. So we started working with the small and medium enterprises companies and different companies, either mega or giga companies, to make sure that they understand the meaning of local content and as well start embedding the local content requirements within their procurement as they procure. And then on the left side, we started an initiative under the name of the Local Content Leadership Council, which was started back in September 17th in 2019. The point of this council is simply gather the large companies within the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia and make sure that all of our efforts and initiatives are coordinated properly. And then the third part, we started looking into the customer consumption, which are the citizens or the non-citizen living in Saudi Arabia. So we started awareness and education campaign to increase their knowledge of local content within the product that they procure. And then we started evaluating and categorizing the products that are being sold in the market. This is simply our strategy when it comes to increasing local content. If we go to the second slide, Hassan, please. So now we're going to look into the definition of local content. The definition of local content that we had come up with is simply the total spend in the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia on Saudi components within labor, goods, services, assets, and technology. What does that mean? We simply are talking about the entire spend, and we are comparing this entire spend to how much has been remaining in the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia and how much is gone outside of Saudi Arabia. And this would correspond to a percentage that we would call the ratio or the percentage of local content score. And this would be the local content score either to a company or to a product itself. So this is the way we measure local content. If we go to the next slide, Hassan, please. Now we're going to look into the government procurement law. Can we go to the second slide as well? The government procurement law was issued in August 1st, 2019. And then within the government procurement law, there were 4 documents detailing this government procurement law. If you see the little brown tag on the document on the far upright, you would see the local content document that has been issued. So the point of this regulation is simply to establish rule and procedure with regard to local content preference and policies with either local content or small or medium enterprises companies or also listed companies in the Saudi market. So the regulation is simply applies among all government procurement and whoever is doing a project on behalf of a government procurement as well. The regulation was established or regulated by the Council of Ministers on November 26th of 2019. This regulation is simply constituted out of 4 mechanisms that we're going to talk about in the next slide. There are 4 slides, there are 4 mechanisms within this regulation. The first one is called the local content in commercial evaluation, which simply means rewarding local content in commercial evaluation. So this means that you may be not the cheapest bidder after on the technical evaluation, and you still are the awarded bidder only because of your local content score. So this comes only upon the contract that costs more than 50 million Saudi riyals. This is the first one. The second one is called the local content minimum threshold, which simply means setting a minimum threshold within the RFP related to the local content that the tenders or the whoever is coming into the contract has to comply with. And based on that compliance, you may not be the cheapest bidder, but you would still be awarded the contract due to the compliance of local contents in the commercial evaluation. And this is only applicable upon contract within the government entities for more than 50 million Saudi riyals. Number three is called the local price preference, which is simply giving a price premium to local products, which is simply giving them a 10% price premium. So for example, if I were to buy a product and then I had two different products coming into the table, the first one is local and the second one is not local. So the local one is costing me, let's say 11 Saudi riyal, whereas the non-local one is costing me 10 Saudi riyal. If we go by the previous law, we would award the one that is cheaper after they passed technically, obviously, we would award the one that was cheaper. Whereas today we would award the one that is more expensive as long as it does not go against 10%. So this is the third mechanism that we have. The fourth mechanism is the mandatory list, which is simply a list that's constituted out of bunch of products that we believe that we have the ability to supply for government contracts, and we have the capacity, and we have suitable prices as well. Those products have to be procured throughout either a local manufacturer or throughout a trader to a local manufacturer. And then the fifth component, which is part of the government procurement law, article number 53, which is the localization and knowledge transfer. It's simply an offtake to source and offtake agreements for the purpose of industry localization or technology transfer. Those are the mechanisms related to the local content within the government procurement law. If we go to the next slide. Now we're going to talk about the Local Content Leadership Council. Can we go to the next slide? The council, the point of creating this council is simply to make sure that all of the main large companies within the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia, such as SABIC, SAA, and STC, and Ma'adin and SEC as well, are being on the same page when it comes to local content initiatives and also efforts. So we would be running the same show when it comes to local content requirements. This is why most of these companies today, SABIC has Nisanid as a local content program, Aramco has Iktitha as a local content program, STC has Rawafid, Skico has also Bina as well. So each one of these companies has its own local content program with minor modifications due to the nature of their businesses. But each one of them has local content requirements as part of their procurement cycle. So this is pretty much when it comes to our work with the private sector. Can we go to the next slide? This is pretty much right now all what is related to local content. We talked about the strategy of local content, the definition, the mechanisms that are part of the government procurement law, and also the effort and also the initiatives with regard to the private sector as well. Now I would leave the microphone to you, Hissam, to give it to our other colleagues as well.
Yeah, thank you, Muhammad. That was very good information that was presented, and I would like to move to the next presentation with Ms. Hala. Ms. Hala, the floor is yours.
Thank you, Hissam.
Yes, Hala, can you see the slides?
Yes, just give me a second, please.
Okay, the floor is yours, Hala.
Thank you. Okay, hello and good afternoon, everyone. My name is Hala Al-Musbah. I'm a marketing and investment attraction specialist from King Salman Energy Park, Spark. And today I'll be presenting Spark to you. Our vision is to be an integrated global industrial hub for the energy manufacturing and services company. And our place our tenants in a world-class ecosystem to provide them with all the supporting services so they can invest, grow, and live and sustain in the city. And shown to you here is our core values. The city is being developed in line with the Saudi Vision 2030 to diversify the kingdom's economy and strengthen it as well. And it is in line as well with the Saudi Aramco and Activa program's effort and MISA effort to localize and attract the energy supply chain in Kingdom, as mentioned by my colleague Hussam. Spark will be the platform mainly for these companies. Spark is set to target the supply chain of the upstream, downstream, water management, petrochemical, and power. And we are looking into suppliers from big companies down to the small and medium enterprises. Activa has done a great job in identifying the Saudi market demand and the localization opportunities, as well as the local content authority, as well as the Ministry of Investment. You can find all the studies published online. And for Activa's study, you can visit their website where you can find the market demand, product lines, each one by the forecast and the available information for the next 5 years as well. In terms of location, Spark is strategically located in the heart of the MENA region, the heart of the GCC region, and the heart of the eastern province of Saudi Arabia, which is the energy market mainly. And the city will be connected via rail and via roads. So we are developing new roads, as you can see in the map, as well as we are working with the Ministry of Transport to accelerate the rail link so you can be connected via rail and road, ease of your logistics, your operations, and of course, accessibility to the entire region. Now moving to the master plan. Before I go to the master plan, we're proudly to say that Spark is the first industrial city in the world to get the LEED certificate, which is a leadership in energy and environmental design. We got this, and now I will show you why we got the certificate. Here's our master plan. Mainly, we got the LEED for this one. We designed the city over a 50 square kilometer as a full community, a full ecosystem where people can invest, build their facility, as well as live and work and grow and sustain. That's why we got the LEED certificate. So you can see in here that there will be 4 key zones in the city, the industrial area where investors can lease lands. There will be a training and education area for the training institutes and center to build their facility and provide training courses to the tenants. There will be a residential and commercial communities as well, with all the villas, apartments, hotels, malls, markets, pharmacies, all the supporting services to the city, as well as a world-class logistics zone to support our tenants. And now I'll move to our value propositions. First, we'll be having a dry port, which is fairly important to every investor. The dry port will have a rail yard, a containers yard, a bonded area, warehouses, customs, and all the logistic supporting services will be there. The dry port will be run and operated by a JV between us, Spark, and Hutchison Port, a lead and an expert port company, well-known. It's an international company as well. And this is really valuable for the investors to ensure that they will get the services at the best level and to ease their export and import activities. And imagine that this dry port with all these services will be just lying down next to your manufacturing facility or services facility. So it's proximity to all of these kind of services. Moving to the next one. To maintain the premium standards of the city, we hired NG Solutions. They are an international facility management, and they will be taking care of our city. We're talking about landscaping and all of the services that they can offer to the city. You have the list in front of you in here, such as cleaning, maintenance, waste management, and many more of their offerings. All of this will be offered to Spark tenants and Spark as a city to maintain the world-class offerings in the community and in the city all in all. A very important value proposition, we lease our land in a plug and play concept, meaning that if you're a foreign company or a foreign investor, you will feel this. When you come to Spark, you will receive your industrial land ready for building, meaning that it will be leveled, compacted, all the utilities will be delivered to your plot boundaries. So you don't have to spend the first year preparing the land. You will receive a ready land, and all of the services will be delivered to your plot boundaries. So your initial capex will be reduced, and you will improve the constructability, of course, and of course it will expedite the facilities development for you. Another important value proposition is Spark's one-stop shop. And to support our tenant, we established Spark One-Stop Shop, and we're continuously developing it. So we have Spark Land and Loan product with the SIDF, where you can access special incentives for Spark. Also, we have the third power license in Kingdom, meaning that you will deal with us as your utility company. You don't have to go and deal with multiple agencies. You don't have to go to the Saudi Electricity Company or any other company. You will deal with Spark only. And this is an excellent value proposition to all investors. And moving to the investment opportunities, we continuously work with the localization initiatives and programs. If you can go back, Hassam, sorry. For the investment opportunities, we continuously work with ICTIVA and all the localization programs to confirm the market demand, support our investors throughout their investment journey, as well as working with the government agencies such as MISA, Ministry of Investment, to support the investors throughout his investment journey. We've also managed to attract the Saudi Center for Commercial Arbitration to open in Spark. And mainly they will be offering their dispute resolution supporting services to all of the tenants. More, we facilitate all the design approvals and permits issuance, and we work on far more offerings tailored to the investor requirements. We take it case by case and we look at your needs and we support you all the way until you're up and running. Last but not least, Spark will be a host of the latest strategic initiatives announced by Saudi Aramco, and here we're talking about two key industries. One of them is the IR 4.0 industry and the non-metallic industry. These are two hot trends now in the market, and both hubs will be created in Spark with all the opportunities available. Investors get to come and create their own ecosystem around the digital opportunities and their own ecosystem around the non-metallic opportunities, and they will be designated centers to extend their support to the tenants from these industries. And now we move also to an important part, which is how to become a tenant in Spark. So to become a tenant, you may lease lands, and you may reserve lands if you're planning for future expansion. So we allow you to do this. And if you have a real estate arm, we have also a non-industrial attractive investment opportunities where you can develop the residential or complexes or commercial complexes. And in terms of the process to become a tenant, we have a standard process. It is shown in front of you. From day one, you will be assigned with a single focal point for you and Spark to work with you from the moment you submit your land application request until the signing of lease agreement. After that, you will be handed over to the onboarding team from Spark, which will support you until the operation of your facility. So we have a standard standard qualification process to every investor that comes to Spark, where we ensure our governance and compliance in these processes and procedures. And today, just to give you a snap of where we stand, Spark has been an international investment destination. And since the groundbreaking December 2018, today, successfully, we have managed to attract and approve over 35 companies, local and international companies, and we have leased and allocated over 80% of the industrial lands in phase one, and we've captured over $2 billion worth of investment. So we look forward to you to be part also of our tenants and our community, and we look forward to meet with you and see you. If you'd like to contact us, you may find our contact details and here you can contact us for any inquiries or any questions, and if you wish to reach to us, we'll be happy to answer any questions as well. Thank you.
Thank you, Hala, for your presentation, and I believe we have received some questions that we'll be able to answer. First, has there been any special alignment with local commercial banks for financing on such incentives? No, to be honest, for the industrial projects incentives is being covered by the Saudi, or the SIDF, the Saudi Industrial Development Fund, as I mentioned before. And there are some other actually programs that focuses on SMEs and some other private programs as well. We can actually support you on it depends on the size of the project, as I mentioned, if it can go to SIDF or it can go as an SME. I encourage you to contact me, and I'll be able to help you, inshallah, on that topic after having a little bit more detail on your investment. The second question, under the current circumstances where the travel is being difficult, are there any innovative procedures developed where a company can be set up without any need of actual travel to the kingdom? Let me say that the Ministry of Energy did a very quite good job on simplifying this pandemic to the investors. We can still, without being in Saudi Arabia, we can still support you and align meetings with any entity, as I mentioned before, within the kingdom, being out of Saudi. And even though if the investment of the project needs someone from the company to be within Saudi Arabia, we can apply and we can help and support on getting an approval for such a thing. So I would say yes, this is very doable. There are quite few exceptions that came into that manner, which will support the organizations to start setting up in Saudi without being here. Moving to the second question, the next question, what is the size of the industrial steam boiler market in KSA, and what's the percentage that is imported? I would like to ask you to contact me. Actually, this is my contact information, my personal email as well. I would like to ask if you can contact me on that manner, and we can discuss it, inshallah, with in more details and get aligned also as well with the related stakeholders for such an information. I believe that's all that we have received. But again, if you have any questions, either for me or Spark or LCGP as well, you can contact me or contact any one of them, and inshallah, all of us will be able to support you no matter what the question is. That's it for our webinar today. Again, thank you all for being here today with us, and I would like to thank...
Hussam, please. Thank you so much, guys, for the informative presentation. I would like to ask, please, for our attendees and listeners to just visit this link to fill in the survey, just less than 2 minute survey. So we would appreciate if you guys just go and have a look and fill in the survey. We'd appreciate that. Thank you again. Thank you, guys. Thank you to our lovely listeners, and hope we'll meet again soon, inshallah.
Thank you, Fahad. يعطيك الف.
Hussam, I believe we're still having some questions on the chat.
Oh, sorry, I did not get the chat.
Yeah.
Okay, Hala, this question is for you. Spark a similar community, but for health care related, and this is a difficult word to be honest, manufacturing related to object. Do you guys support any health care projects, Hala?
So we will be having a clinic in Spark, but as an industrial, for the pharmaceutical centers or pharmaceutical industry, we won't be having like a zone dedicated for them. We're focused on energy, but for clinic, we'll be having a clinic in Spark, and we're looking for healthcare operators. If they are interested, they may contact us at the marketing email or at the info email, and we'll be happy to support them as well.
Okay, I got a question from Jack related to the food production field. You can reach out to me, Jack, and I'll direct you to the food team where they can support you in this manner as well. I believe that's it, guys. We got no other questions. Fahad, should we just end the session?
Yeah, I'll just end the session. I'll just give it a minute so our lovely attendees can click on the link for the survey. So thank you again. يعطيكم ألف عافية. شكرا. We'll see you soon, inshallah.
Thank you.